guys, this is Jing. Right now, I'm in Los Angeles, the United States. And here at Santa Monica, I'm facing the Pacific Ocean. On the other side of the ocean is my country, China. A few weeks ago, I flew all the way from China to California. And some of you may wonder, Jing, what are you doing here? Why are you going to the United States? Well, there are a few reasons. First, I always travel around to different countries to find the people stories. And this time, I think it's important to find the people stories in the United States. There are a few things that took me here. First is the very important APEC meeting, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. Second, Chinese president, our president, also came here to meet with the US President Joe Biden. So that's why I'm here. China and US relationship has been going up and down in the history. But recently, in the past few years, it really has hit the rock bottom to a level that there's so little trust among the leadership, among the people even. And I feel both the Chinese people and American people have been villainized by all kinds of misconceptions. I think all of you, my longtime fans and followers, I've debunked many lies from mainstream media, because in the past few years, some crazy politicians, some of those who from military-industrial complex and mainstream media created so many lies about Chinese people. I debunked those lies. Some thought, oh, you probably hate America. No, I hate their lies, their awful ways of covering China, because they definitely see Chinese people in an awful, stupid way. I think one of my most important mission here is to build a bridge, build connections between Chinese people and American people, because the people are not what you see in the media. So to clear all those misunderstandings, and the best way to debunk the lies is talk to the people, find the people's stories, and build connections. When we are bonded, when we are friends, when we know each other, the misconceptions, awful narrative won't work anymore. So that's why I'm here, being a bridge of the two cultures, being a bridge of the two peoples. I try to understand the different opinions. And I think if you truly want to understand different opinions and clear misconceptions, clear the misunderstandings, the best way is to talk it out. Just like the name of my program suggests. And I did. When I'm here, I try to talk to as many people as I can, talk to people from different communities. And here are my takeaways. First, I want to share with you my observations of the average American's opinion on China. We often hear the crazy rhetorics from certain leadership in the US, certain crazy politicians who made awful, aggressive foreign policies towards other countries. But when you actually talk to the average American people, most of them just want better relationship between China and the US, especially those people who have connections with both countries.
Last year, Nature magazine, which is probably the foremost scientific publication in the world, in the way they make a calculation about which countries are doing the most high quality science. And for the first time last year, China was number one, not the US. So in the long run, we may be hurting ourselves more than we're hurting China, because we're cutting ourselves off from those people who are doing this wonderful work. So that would be one step. I'm sure others can give you other ideas. I would like to see something concrete come out of this, and then maybe we can move on from there.
I think it's great. I think that we need to have our leaders talking to each other. The average American wants a very good relationship with China. We're two of the strongest countries in the world, and we should have a good relationship.
Just be great if two countries are getting along better, and we're rooting for both countries. I'm glad they're meeting. I hope this is a start to build a better relationship, so we're hopeful.
Well, the more we talk, the less we fight. So that our heads of state are communicating and talking and hopefully opening up longer dialogues, different ways to talk. So I think it's important. I think it's equally important that we send Americans to China. I went there. It was awesome. You learn a lot, you open your mind. People treat you wonderfully. And when people treat you well, you stop thinking of them as some kind of enemy. And you recognize that we're all trying to make our individual lives and our family lives better. So whatever the heads of state can do to open up opportunities for American students to travel in China and to go school there, I'm all for it.
And during my stay, I talked to many from the Chinese American community because 25% of the population of San Francisco are Chinese Americans. They came here 180 years ago to build the first transcontinental railway. Well, although they first came here as a forced labor, cheap labor, and they suffered discrimination, but after going through up and downs, they earned the right to stay in the city that they built on. So there's a large Chinese American communities. And it's shocking to hear their perspectives because many of the people who have been staying here for at least 3 generations, they are Americans born and raised here. And they've experienced the discrimination period in history. Yet, what made them feel most unsafe was the past 3 or 4 years, especially during the pandemic. For example, this is answer from Mike Wang. He's a veteran. He's a 3rd generation of Chinese American, and this is what he said.
When President Trump was talking about Kung flu and the Chinese virus and that sort of thing, the most extreme and most violent elements of our society took that as a signal to go ahead and attack anybody who they thought was Chinese, which basically means anybody who looked Asian. And we were seeing on the news, videos of old man sitting on a walker. Person just charges them and knocks them off the walker and kills them. Women just being attacked on the street. There was an incident in which a mass shooter went in and murdered Asian women who were working in 2 different massage parlors. All these things were happening. And, I'm a 3rd generation Chinese American. I've been in this country all my life, and this was the worst I've ever seen, just like Julie said.
I also interviewed 2 awesome female judges. For example, Judy Tong, she was originally from Hong Kong during British colonial rule. She immigrated to the US, lived in San Francisco, and these years she went back to Hong Kong, went back to the rest of China. She saw amazing improvement of the country, and she has never been so proud of her home country, China, but she also loves America because this is also her home. She grew up here, had a wonderful career here, and this is what she said.
China, they've always wanted a win-win formula, but that's what I understand that Xi Jinping is trying to do. And so in that sense, he's really creating a sense of message that would unite the China and America closer together. And I hope that will convince the Americans that here is a message of peace. And with that message, let's try to work together. And I understand he's trying to open up the market and invite Americans to invest. That's a very welcome sign. President Xi Jinping really changed the paradigm of the quality of U.S.-China issues, the opportunities that exist, and he encouraged a system of multipolarity that opens up people's mind that, hey, we can do that. We don't have to be number one. We don't have to be the hegemon. We don't have to be all these expenses of going to war, spending money on military-industrial complex in order to keep our number one status. We can work together on the EVs, on the high tech.
The Chinese American community is probably the first victims of the worsening relationship between China and the US. Because when the media in the US use racist terms to describe the virus, to describe Chinese culture, they were seen as the barrier of the virus. Many of them, especially the senior Chinese Americans, suffered racist attacks, verbal abuse. But this time, when Chinese president visited the US, they went on the streets carrying Chinese national flags, shouting I love China. I love America. I love the friendship between China and America because both countries are their families and they are celebrating their family heritage. Chinese leader and the US leader will meet in California and to discuss how to build more connections, how to stabilize the tensions, relationship between the two countries. Do you think there will be a positive consequence?
I think so. I'm optimistic because I think in life you have to work for the betterment of the future. I think this meeting between our two leaders is very important. Whether it actually achieved any economic or other results is to be seen. But what is really important is the image to the world that the two largest countries are meeting, shaking hands, wanting to improve the relationship. The Cold War is very bad for all of us. We don't want the Cold War to become a hot war. I think this movement between the two presidents is really good. The average American does not know what's going on. They always see through the media, and the media has not been friendly to the Chinese government, to what's happening in China. This, so far, the media has been positive. Since our governor, Newsom, was in China, the media seems to be having a more positive attitude towards U.S.-China relationship. In order for the world to achieve peace, we need to have a better U.S.-China relationship. U.S.-China friendship is utmost important. I really encourage more people to visit China and more Chinese to visit the United States.
There's a famous Chinese song that says, when the friends come, we have fine wine. When the enemy come, we have shotgun. And the difference between the Newsom visit to China is he was praising China's development. He took the high-speed train. He liked it. You know what? I wish California has gone with China on building the high-speed train. And now today we probably would have a high-speed train in California. And so we do see signs of hope of a better times ahead. And hopefully Kevin Newsom's meeting set the tone for the Xi and Biden meeting. Speaking of Bali consensus, I brought out like a piece of Bali here. This is a traditional Indonesian shirt, batik from Bali. And so I hope that spirit of Bali consensus could carry it over to the Xi Biden meeting in San Francisco. San Francisco where everybody gets along and it's a happy place, and hopefully that will create the happy atmosphere we can look forward to in the next couple of days.
And I was wondering, how do young people in America feel about China, know about China? So I went to different schools, tried to sample opinions, and here's a vox pop I did at the UC Berkeley. Have you been to China before?
No, I haven't.
I have not.
I have not. I would love to go someday, though.
When I was little. I have not, no.
I've never been to China, no.
I found out most young people, young Americans, don't know much about Chinese culture or have no knowledge about China at all. Well, that's understandable because, when we were young, we don't know much about the world. The positive thing is, even though they don't know so much about China yet, I feel they are among the most open-minded group of people willing to accept different cultures.
Well, I do understand that the government structure is different and that the culture is certainly a lot different than here. I try to not buy into any discourse that I hear until I actually experience it myself, because I know people can be super biased.
I think just acknowledging cultural differences is the big thing just to bridge us together, because I feel like obviously the culture here is extremely different from the culture in China, and just being able to practice empathetic listening, listening to one another without jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, I think just having open dialogue, communicating what each group's goals are, that really helps for just maintaining positive relations. I'm not too educated on the matter, but I'm sure those who are, if they have an open collaboration and communication, that would help improve the relations.
So I really lay a lot of hope on those people because I think they are the people that will change the future. So I have a lot of trust in those people. But there are also people who, even though they haven't been to China yet, they already have huge interest, huge enthusiasm going to China. And they are the Lincoln High School students. Take a look at our interactions. Do you all want to go to China? Yes. Do you want to study in China? Yes. Come visit me. I'm in Beijing, okay? And you know what? I had a wonderful exchange seminar at UCLA with many students. Some of the students are African Americans, some of the students are Chinese Americans. They come from diverse cultures, and we get together, we talk about our own cultures, we discuss many issues. It was such a wonderful exchange, intercultural communication, and that's what we need to do, just to get people from different cultures to get together, to learn from each other, try to understand each other. At the welcome dinner, our President Xi, said for the next few years, he will invite more than 50,000 students from America to study and visit China. That's great. That's a hope to boost understanding of our two countries. And you know what? Just like he said,
看来中美关系基础是在民间，希望是在人民。后来我和这个华盛顿州这个友好人士，我给他复信的时候，我又加了一句，我说这个未来在青年。
So that's what we need to do, because the future is ours. Don't let certain crazy politicians destroy your future. When it's our future, we come together, learn from each other, make friendship, being the bridge, and I'm sure we will make the world a much better world.